So you're new to Genshin, you're doing some 10 pulls, and while you don't get a 5-star, you do get an honorary 5-star, Xiangling. Now, what do you get with Xiangling besides a character that casually has a best friend slash pet that used to be a god? Well, Xiangling is a polearm-wielding pyro user whose burst is very, very good for a specific reason. And in this video, we are going to look at the basics of Xiangling, and I will talk about one of those specific reasons in this video. But first, we're going to look at the build of the Xiangling that we are using in this video. Now, my Xiangling's not built. She's only level 60, 9,000 attack, 805, or 9,000 HP, 805 attack, 226 EM. All right, I don't want to hear it. I don't use Xiangling, even though everybody should, I don't. 27 over 87 with 125 ER. Ballad of the Fjord, level 20. Not even a full artifact set on my Xiangling. She is C6. And her talents are 277. She doesn't have her second passive, but we're going to look at her passives because, you know, why not? It increases the flame range of Guoba by 20%, and her second passive, when Guoba attack effects end, is going to leave a little chili pepper. You pick up the pepper, your on-field character gets a 10% attack increase. Because she's a 4-star, we're going to look at her constellations. Her first one, opponents hit by Guoba's attacks have their pyro resistance reduced, which is really good. The second one, the last attack of her normal attack is going to basically apply an implode effect that is going to do a bit of AoE pyro damage, which we'll point that out whenever we look at her normal attacks. The third one is going to increase the level of her burst by 3. It's always that. Her fourth one is going to increase the duration of her burst. Her fifth one's going to increase Guoba. It's called Guoba Mad. I love that name. And then the last one, her C6, is going to make all your party members get a 15% pyro damage bonus during her burst. So let's go look at how her entire kit works and why everyone should use her, even though I don't. Zucchini does not like that I don't use her. Now, something else real quick. I do cut out a lot of stuff in these TikTok videos than I do on YouTube. So go check out the full video here. I've been saying that in a lot of videos. Also, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I've been doing this for almost a year, and I never, ever did self-plugs. So that's what I'm doing now. I got to start doing that. Okay, let's actually go to this video now. So her normal attacks are going to be normal. The last one is going to apply that effect, that implode effect, which after a certain amount of time, it is going to do an AoE pyro damage. So if you see pyro damage at the end of her normal attacks, that is it. Her charge attack is going to be the corkscrew variant, where she just kind of goes through all the characters dealing physical damage. Now, her skill, very important. Drops. Doggy's gonna leave that in there. Drops. I think I did it last time too. Drops Guoba, the cooking god. And Guoba is going to hit enemies with pyro. The nearest enemy to it is going to be hit with pyro. You're going to see these arrows. It means that because of Xiangling C1, makes it weaker to pyro. So then Guoba's next attacks will do more. Xiangling's burst will do more. That's it. That's all that Guoba does, right? Now, used to, Guoba did a lot more. Used to do a lot of cooking, was the best friend of Zhongli. Or a good friend of Zhongli. But now, he just spits fire. If we had her second passive, then he would drop a chili pepper whenever he left the field. Because we don't have that passive, he doesn't do it. Now, her burst. She is going to swing her polearm around her, and it is going to hit enemies with pyro. That's it. You can swap her off the field, and it maintains there. That's it. Now, why is she so good? Well, there's 2 reasons, one of which we're going to talk in this video, one of them we're not going to talk about until the next video. The one that we're going to talk about in this video is that her burst can snapshot Benny's burst. And what that means is that whenever we use her burst, we want to always, if they're in a team together, put Bennett's burst down first. Because now, once we've activated her burst inside Benny's burst, Xiangling's burst is going to always have the attack buff from Benny's burst for the full duration. If we swap to the character, if we leave the burst field for too long, it doesn't matter. Once we start her burst inside of Bennett's field, then it will always have the attack buff for the duration of the burst, which is really, really good, because that means that we can increase the number of characters that can take that can use Bennett's burst, right? We could snapshot it, and then go to Child or Tartaglia and let Child Tartaglia get Bennett's burst buff as well as Xiangling. Whereas if Child just ran out of it for too long, he's no longer going to get the buff. If you do her burst first and then do Bennett's, it will not get the buff at all. You have to do Bennett's burst first. But that is called snapshotting. And Xiangling's burst can snapshot. So it's really, really good. The other thing is going to be internal cooldown, ICD. We're not going to talk about that in this one. We're going to talk about that in the next video. Now, Xiangling. Now, something else with Xiangling's burst, I think I mentioned it before, but you can swap Xiangling off the field and her burst will continue. She does a ton of off-field pyro application. So we could go to Child after activating it, right after putting down Benny's burst, snapshotting Xiangling's burst. We can go to Child, Tartaglia, run around dealing hydro damage, allowing Xiangling to get vaporized reactions, which is going to be really, really good in a team like this. So now we're going to look at artifact sets for Xiangling. For basics, for beginners, I am going to say either 4-piece exile, right? So that way we're going to get up her energy recharge, but she's also going to get up energy recharge for your other characters, or well, she's going to give energy to your other characters, or like a 2-piece exile, 2-piece scholar. So that way we have 40% extra energy recharge, or like 2-piece exile, 2-piece instructor, 2-piece exile, 2-piece resolution. Having exile, having that energy is super, super important for Xiangling. It also leads into how you build her later on with 4-piece emblem. But for just like beginner, for basics, we need to focus on energy. For the main stats, attack sands or EM sands or ER sands. It's going to mainly depend on the team that you have her in and what weapon you have her in. Once you get to Emblem of Severed Fates, you're going to always be running an ER sands, almost always be running an ER sands. But you kind of have 3 options, ER, I believe, being your best one, especially whenever you get to Emblem. For Goblet, a Pyro Goblet, and for Circlet, crit rate or crit damage, also kind of depending on the weapon that you have on her, right? But it is going to be a crit. For weapons, I do have Ballad of the Fjord on her. This is going to get up her EM if she's in a team with more than 3 elements, which she is. And it's also going to get up her crit rate, which is going to be very, very good. If I was running 4-piece emblem on her, I would have an ER Sands with this to get up her energy recharge. Now, if we look at the other Battle Pass weapon in Deathmatch, this is going to also get up her crit rate. It's going to get up her attack instead of her EM. The EM is going to be really, really good in a Vapor and Melt team. The attack is going to be really good in a Mono Pyro team. But again, I would still be running an ER Sands with 4-piece emblem for much, much later in the game. Her best weapon, by far though, is going to be R5, the Catch. If you've got to Inazuma, if you can do Inazuma, R5, the Catch, put it on her. If you don't have it on somebody else, like I have it on my Raiden, the Catch is phenomenal on her. It's going to get up energy recharge, meaning you can have a little bit more flexibility with your Sands. Increase the elemental burst damage and burst crit rate. This is really, really good. If you don't have any of these weapons that I've talked about, then you do have something like Favonius. And if you're going to be doing Favonius, then I would be doing a crit rate circlet so that we can get her crit as high as possible, or her crit rate as high as possible, so that way she can take good use of this passive. Another option is going to be Dragon's Bane, which is going to be really good in something like a Vaporized team if you aren't running her with Emblem, or if you have enough ER outside of needing an ER weapon. Dragon's Bane can also be really, really good, especially in a Vapor Melt because of that elemental mastery, especially in a Vape team because of the Hydro and Pyro passive. Now, in the next video, we are going to look at several different teams that Xiangling can be in. She can do a lot of different things. The Child International, or Child National, I can never remember what the correct term is a really good option. Mixing her with Bennett is a really good option just because of the snapshotting. Mixing her with Kazuha or a grouper of some form is also going to be really good because it will mean that you're hitting more enemies with Guoba. But in this particular team that I'm running, yes, it is a low-level domain. And my Tartaglia, Kazuha, and Bennett are actually, my Bennett and Kazuha are really well built. My Child isn't super well built, but he is built to some degree. So they're running through it pretty fast. But in the next video, we're going to talk about different teams. I just kind of wanted to show off a very good team behind me that you can use. That is going to be it for this video. If you have any questions, do be sure to leave it down in the comments. Myself or someone else will be sure to answer it, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh wait, Momo. Put this in the video, doggy. This is your favorite cat. This is your favorite cat, doggy. Put Figaro in the video.